Hey everyone, I hope you're well, playing and making games that you all love. You're joining me, your host, lead level designer, Max Pears. Absolute pleasure to be talking to you, whether it be morning, evening, or night. Thank you very much for joining in, and I appreciate you listening to the show. So this one's going to be a fun one for me, and hopefully educational for many of you, right? Like, there is a lot of people aspiring to get into the industry, as well as people constantly working on how to better their own careers and own standings. And the interview process for games is honestly quite a long one, to say the least. I've had some that take up to 9 months, stuff that have taken over a year to progress with it. So it is a very, depending where you apply, it can take a tremendous amount of time. And I think the thing that I want to focus on with all of this today really is on the element of, well, what is it that, what is it that we can do to stand out for it, right? Really show off the elements with that of what it is that makes great level design portfolios. There's a lot out there, and these are the tips that I believe are the best ones for it. It doesn't mean that there isn't other things out there or other people that suggest different things, which it doesn't mean they don't hold validity to them. But these are the ones that I've seen and allowed me to help in my career. And in that, we're going to be showing my own, but also others' amazing work for it as well, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of great, incredible portfolios out there. Now, the element with it I think is important is, once you have been in the industry for a few years and had a couple of games come out, your portfolio doesn't always necessarily matter. What I mean by that is, I've seen some incredible designers, people I know and respect, that do not have portfolios. Now, when they were starting in their careers, portfolios weren't really a thing, right? There's people that just have CVs, and obviously it roughly carries the same weight as CV, so that helps them as well. But I think if you're just starting out, or if you're wanting to catch the eye of someone, then portfolios really are a great way to do this. And with that, let's actually see if this works. Look at that. Works instantly. Please do ignore all the support and level design and the store, guys. I need to update this. But yes, one of the things we want to show is kind of the home page. Now, Michael Howe is a intermediate level designer, but his homepage is very similar to mine. And the thing that I really want to focus on when we talk about the homepage is a couple things. One, it has to be straight to your work. That's the first thing that really needs to happen, is the sooner you get to show your work, the better it is, right? The reason I mention that is I've seen so many people who start and their About Me section is their homepage. They will want to know more about you if they want to progress. What they first want to check is, are you good enough and are you up to the task of the job? So you'll see Michael's, we have a very similar one because he copied me, but we have a very similar one where we have it where we have a list of our websites, and when you hover over them, it'll play the trailer for this. We'll talk about that in a little bit of second. Same with here. But Ryan does a really nice one, I think, where he makes the games he's worked on into little movie posters, and I think they look really great. Now, Ryan's not updated his for a while because he's now the lead level designer over at Blizzard, which is great. And it's another great way to do this. There are others. Sean has his more laid out with a small description. My sort of thing, again, is we have Simon, who has a really nice one where he has the GIFs automatically playing for his games right off the bat. Right? And similar as well, Savanti has a one where if you hover over, GIFs will play. Now, obviously, there's similarities between mine, Michael's, Savante's as well. But the thing that I think worth sharing is you don't have to do it the way that all of us have done it. I'm pretty sure there are other LDs who've got the same sort of structure in terms of the width of the images, etc. But the thing that I said I really want to say is make sure it just hooks people in to reviewing it. The other thing that I'd say is play around with color schemes. I know Michael's is grey, purple. Mine is kind of blue, grey, and yellow. Ryan's is that of kind of a grey and black, and a hint of red as well. You really want to focus on a color scheme with that, because again, it's hooking people in. It's getting someone drawn into the work that you're creating right from it. And I think that's very important with that. So the second one is hey everyone, I just want to give a huge shout to hopefully have you vote for me for the Game Dev Heroes. What we do around seems to be more focused on that of the UK, but focusing on celebrating those who contribute so much to our incredible industry. And it seems cheesy, I know, but I would really love for all of you, if you can, to take the time and vote for me for that of your Game Dev Hero. Now, I will send a link to this and have it down in the description below. But in terms of things that need to be filled out, along with your names and my name for your nomination name, which would be Max Pears, category design, my email is leveldesignlobby@gmail.com. My role is lead level designer, and the studio workout is People Can Fly. If you wouldn't mind giving back for me, giving to all of this incredible industry that I have for over the years, I would genuinely really appreciate this, as I would love to be part of this incredible ceremony with the Game Dev Heroes. Many of you know I've been doing the podcast now for I think 7 years, around there, crazy to think, along with sharing all of my talks out there for you to see, with books about that of exploration, traversal and combat, and most recently that of the level design kit as well. So if you wouldn't mind taking the time to vote for me and nominate me in the Game Dev Heroes 2025 nomination, I would sincerely appreciate that. Have a bit of thought on colour scheme. You can keep it simple. There are such things like Dolly Colour Wheel, which you can literally just make for it, right? If we just go delete, do tripod, and then change tint. But we can see and play around with these for it as well. So then we can go monochrome, and it gives you suggestions for it, right off the bat with all these ones, and it helps you understand different things for it. There are also great books for it as well, where they actually have breakdowns on different color schemes and best color combinations. For it, we have this one here, and it just allows you to pick, for example, if we do Florida citrus, right? Like, there we go. So we now have it. Whoops. For it, but it's just a great handy little tool for you. Can pick these up pretty cheap online, Ivy League as well for that. Oop. Where you're able to again just see different color palettes for it and use those as inspirations for your own. I think that's very important. The reason that I recommend doing this, and many of you who've listened to me before will constantly hear me harp on about, like, I really personally don't like portfolios which are just white background, black text, because it just looks like a Word document. And if you're supposed to be selling yourself, I think there's better ways to do it. Now, and also don't forget, like, mine was a really different color. I changed mine partway through my career, and it'll probably get changed and updated again, right? Mine used to be like a, do you remember the PlayStation 4, the kind of wave art? It was red, all of these different ones for it. So then I've changed it to now what we more see is more the level design lobby kind of color frame with that. But it still can be simple, as we've seen here. It's more a dash of purple with black Ryans as well. All of it can really work for that. So those are the first two. Straight to your work, have an interesting color scheme other than just white and black. Now, the next thing is we can talk a little briefly on movement. I've shown you how three of us have highlights of trailers for it. I think, and part of that is to bring life instantly towards the work that we're showing for it. Before you select it, it just adds a bit of dynamism towards it, right? And that's just a way to, again, hook people. Now, you can see on mine, I've got some basic movement of this avatar of me moving, but I've also seen it where people have their background moving, like similar to what we have in ours moving right now of this chat. It really is a great one for again, understanding that of, or should I say, really great for just adding a bit more engagement for it. You don't need it. Like Sean's got a really nice one here. Again, of separating it with different patterns, different colors. All great with that. And I think same with Simon. He's got it automatically moving with it as well, right? So it's different ways, but I recommend just having a bit of movement. Subtle, it doesn't need to be big, just so it, again, adds a bit more interactivity. Now, some of you may be wondering, like, why do we focus on this when at the end of the day I'm just trying to show you my work? And we will get to that, and I think it's important. But I think there was a tweet that went around, and I know a few people agreed with it, some people didn't. But it was by he was one of the lead designers at the time. I think he's a director now at Naughty Dog. But he'd mentioned where basically he wouldn't look at a CV if it didn't have graphic design elements, right? And it's one of those ones where people can, again, agree or disagree for it in that sense. And that there is, again, it's up for debate for you. I'm not necessarily wanting to debate that at this moment in time. What I really want to mention about this is we are designers, and yes, graphic design is different, but it is also a great way to leave your mark and get the attention of people right off the bat, because this is far more engaging than, as I said, as an example, just a white one with black text for it with nothing on there, right? Like where I have to sift through all these elements. Now, once you've got this kind of started for it, what we can go through as well is kind of like, remember to show off your work. Now, I've seen some people who will place in their, like, a downloadable link for it, which is great, and I have seen some people play that when reviewing work, but sadly, most of the time, you don't always get that, right? You've only got a few minutes to hook someone in, because when you're applying this, sadly, normally what I've seen, a couple hundred applicants for almost each level design role. So what you're wanting to show there from it then is engage what the level's about really quickly. As you can see with Time Breach from Simon, we've already seen how this moves, it changes really quickly because of the mechanic itself, right? And then you want to start showing the process, and the process is the most important part for it. Like even if we pick here on Michael's as well, similar thing, video, talking about his roles, trailers, then he's got his 2D maps, then videos of it, breaking it down where events happen for it, and then the actual images of it. All of these are super useful because what we're looking for, we're not necessarily looking for the best levels per se, right? It is great to have great levels, let's focus on that, but what we're wanting to see is your design process. That is one of the most important things for us to see. Understanding why is it you made this choice? What is it that inspired it for you, right? Elements like this that are really useful. Go to, say mine here. Now, you may not get a chance to do all of this for it. Some companies aren't as happy with to share certain professional work for it, which again, completely understandable. But it's trying to share as much information you can for it in all of that, whether that be through videos, GIFs, breaking down that of how it's changed, what has changed for it. So I really recommend focusing on that one as well. And this, to me, I think is really important, is also how do you actually sell or tell the story of your work, right? It's not just a bunch of text. we make games. Games are engaging. As I said, we can't always get you to play our work, but by having these breakdowns for it, whether that be videos, images, references, showing that in GIFs, all of that is really important for us, right? Because that is showing us, okay, well, originally he started out looking like this. What changed? These are all his references for it, right? So these are the really important aspects to show and to see, is seeing how it changed, and then we're able to ask questions like we can see down here. This ramp and stairs changed to the other side. Why did they do that, right? It brings in questions for it, so you can show your faults with that as well, right? Like you can show, oh man, we actually play tested it and it was too far away, it didn't make sense logically, and that's why it didn't grab player's eye, and that's why we switched it over. Things like that can instantly be discussed for it. Now, this case here for it, I know Sven really goes into a lot of detail with his work for it. You don't need to go into as much detail as, say, this one here, but you can still go off and see some incredible work. I'm trying to think if... Yes. So, again, Sean has some really nice images for it as well, GIFs and all that one. He's got really nice transitions. We talk about movement, right? Like you can see how they come in for it, so we can feel the progression on that one. So, yeah. It, to me, is, again, just a great one to have that movement for it. Different ways to show it. But, yeah, this is a really important one to think about for it in terms of the details we go in when breaking it down. How do we show that through videos and the GIFs and images as well? Now, the about section for it, because everyone's very different, is kind of talking about those elements of yourself, experience, elements like that, right? Like all these different ones that can come through and see how it all goes. Everyone's kind of different with that. Ryan's over here. You can keep it simple. I've seen many amazing ones done in different ways for that, and I believe Michael's got a nice one as well. You know, and in these kind of elements where you're trying to share a bit about yourself, your experience, then kind of what you've worked on. You maybe don't need to put what you worked on because that's on the pages already, but software, elements like that, right? And I think that's a nice one to have. Keep it simple. I mean, mine is... where are we? Bio. Similar sort of thing, where I've got testimonies from different companies. Then I've got a career timeline, testimonies from co-workers for it. And then this, I will advise, don't do this. I'm going to change this out. But I just advise not doing a skill chart for it. It looks nice, but I advise just not to bother. But yeah, again, similar thing. Very kind of a bit about me, testimonies, career timeline, and then software for it as well. So there's all different ones that you can do. It's all up to you for it. But I think what I really just want to hammer home, and yes, there we go. CV as well. You can keep on your website or downloadable. It's a different one for it. See, what I'd love to see more well with this one as well for it is seeing this green he has in his portfolio as well, just so you can see the, how do I say, the crossover. So I know it's the same person, the same designer. If you look at, I think, my CV for it, it's the same color scheme that I have, the same as portfolio, I believe. Please don't make me download it. Same portfolio, color scheme as the portfolio for it as well, right? Small things, but again, because what you'll see is you'll have your portfolio, then they will download the CV to double check it, and they will take the CV into interviews with you. So if you can keep it unified with your color scheme across all for it as well, then it helps keep in their mind who you are in the present for it. And I think, again, it's just something nice to have. So those are some common tips that I have found through my career and seeing others' great, amazing portfolios and work out there in terms of looking for a job. So we'll go through and you can just take a look at them. So the first one will be... Let's put you here. One. What the hell? Don't know what went wrong there, guys. One is work front page. So remember that we always want it to be clear that the first page we get to is the work, so they can instantly see what you're capable of for it. 2, add movement / life. With that, we talk about that of animating GIFs, stuff scrolling down, either that of videos playing when you hover over, things like that. Or it could be the background moving itself. Simple things like that. Just keep it engaging for what is happening with it. Then we had 3, which was... God, what did we talk about? Yes, it was level breakdowns. So remember, just making sure you're showing your overall process from the 2D map all the way to the changes. Take screenshots while you're changing things. The more that we're able to show now, show from the past to where it is now, the much easier it is to go through and have that kind of as a representation to show how it's changed. And the next is for it, how we show our work. This is, again, how do we show it so it's not just a big long line of text. It is actually through that elements of, how do I say, GIFs, videos, things like pictures, things like that, that we can see what it is and see your intent from it, because we won't be able to have much time to play everything. So the more details you have, it's always better to have more than less. I know that I talk about people not necessarily having, how do I say, not having the time to go through things, but it's better for more information to be there than less, because 9 times out of 10 what you'll find is it's not just one person reviewing your work, it'll go through multiple people, so different people will come in at different depths for it. So that's always a great one to show. Unify color scheme. So you want to keep that across all of your portfolio to your CV, so it keeps you in mind. As we said, there's so much different people looking at it, from HR, which normally starts things off, then it goes to leads, and then goes to other kind of co-workers, it'll go up to directors. So if you can have a unified color scheme, it keeps people in remembering, oh, you're the one who had this portfolio or that thing, because they're able to see that for you. Those were kind of the main ones, I believe, for it. We've been talking about this for how long now? Almost half an hour. So I hope these have been helpful. Again, these are not everything. I'll link to another video which talks about other leads sharing their thoughts on it as well. And from that point there, I hope that it can be a useful, very useful, switch back, a very useful guide and giving you new ideas to push your portfolios even further for that one team. So yeah, thank you so much. Take care. And if you want to reach out to me, you can do so, which is leveldesignlobby@gmail.com. You can also get in contact with me over in either Twitter or Blue Sky, which is @MaxPairs. And yeah, thank you so much. Take care. I'll catch you all next time.